Good morning. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Today is the 26th day of Iyar, and today is the yahrzeit of Herschel Stern, Zichrona Livracha, Shmuel Tzvi ben Yechiel, and our learning today is dedicated in memory of the neshama of Shmuel Tzvi ben Yechiel, a wonderful friend of mine, a wonderful friend of ADATH, loving father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and just an all-around fantastic person, a person who loved learning in Torah, and it is an honor to be able to study Torah in his memory. May his neshama have an aliyah today. When is Shavuos? Now, I know it sounds like a crazy question, because we all know that Shavuos is next Wednesday and Thursday outside of Israel. In Israel, it's next Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday. And that means that a week from Thursday in Israel is a weekday. It's called Isru Chag, but it's a weekday. So it sounds like a crazy question to ask when is Shavuos, but it's even crazier than you think, because Shavuos is the only Yom Tov in the Torah, in the entire Torah, whose date is not mentioned. Parshas Mishpatim, Parshas Emor, Parshas Pinchas, Parshas Re'eh mention the Shalosh Regalim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkos, and Shavuos is only mentioned as the 50th day of the Omer. By the way, we're going to see in a moment that even that is not so clear. But no date or month is given for Shavuos. The Torah says as follows. In Parshas Yisro, the Torah says that the Jewish people reached Mount Sinai, Har Sinai, on Rosh Chodesh Sivan, the beginning of the first day of the month of Sivan. This year, that is this coming Friday. Rosh Chodesh Sivan, the Jewish people reached Har Sinai. Then God tells Moshe in Parshas Yisro, Vayomer Hashem al Moshe. Hashem says to Moshe, Lech el ha'am, go to the people, v'kidashtem hayom ha'machar, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, v'hayu nechonim liyom hashlishi, and on so that they'll be ready on the third morning, ki beyom hashlishi, because on the third morning, yerad Hashem le'nei kol ha'am al Har Sinai. God will descend on Mount Sinai in front of the eyes of the entire Jewish people. This is the revelation of God at Sinai, and we know that God speaks the Aseret HaDibros, the Ten Commandments. And the Gemara says, the Talmud tells us that instruction, that line, was on the fourth day of Sivan. So, if God says, today, Sivan 4, tomorrow, Sivan 5, get ready, and on the third morning, that's when I'm speaking to the Jewish people, that is Sivan 6, the sixth day of Sivan. So, that would lead us to assume that God appeared to the Jewish people, revealed himself to the Jewish people, and spoke the Ten Commandments on the sixth day of Sivan. That's a week from this Wednesday. And that is the day that we observe as the first day of Shavuos, in Israel, the only day of Shavuos. And that is the opinion of the Chachamim, our sages in the Talmud. So it seems simple, right? It works out. 6th of Sivan is the first day. Outside of Israel, we keep 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. It seems simple, right? Not so simple. Because Rabbi Yossi disagrees with the Chachamim. Rabbi Yossi says that yes, that was God's plan to reveal and speak on the 6th of Sivan. However, Yom Echad Hosif Moshe Midaito. Moshe added one more day. Just one more day. We're not ready today. We need till tomorrow. And Rabbi Yossi says, and this is amazing, V'hiskim HaKadosh Baruch Hu imo. God agreed to him. So God was ready on the 6th, next Wednesday, but Moshe decided we needed another day of preparation, and God agreed. So therefore, according to Rabbi Yossi, God actually revealed himself and spoke the Aseret Dibros, the 10 Commandments, on the 7th of Sivan, which for us, outside of Israel, is the second day of Shavuos. And in Israel, it's a weekday. Now, but again, nowhere in the Torah is the actual date given. And even if we want to say that it was based on the days of the Omer, according to Rabbi Yossi, it was not the 50th day, it was the 51st day, counting the Omer. All right. Well, so there are two problems to start with. Number one, this dispute between the Chachamim, the rabbis, and Rabbi Yossi is actually relevant to a different practical halacha. It's not necessary for us to go into now. It's a little bit obscure, but it's a practical issue of Jewish law. And the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. In practical terms, we follow the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. His opinion is considered normative. So if that's true, that means that God revealed himself at Mount Sinai not on the 50th day of the Omer, but on the 51st day of the Omer. So the question is, why did we celebrate Shavuos on Wednesday when, in fact, according to Rabbi Yossi, which seems to be the normative opinion, the Torah was actually given, God actually revealed himself on Thursday, the 51st day of the Omer? Okay, so the Magen Avram, one of the famous classic commentators in the 1600s, he writes that this is a hint to observing 2 days of Yom Tov for Shavuos outside of Israel. Well, hold on a second, Magen Avram, because that answer only makes the question more difficult. Because, okay, yes, so certainly it is true that the second day of Yom Tov for Shavuos for us is different than every other second day Yom Tov. Remember, we discussed this before. The reason that we observe 2 days of Yom Tov is because at one time it was unclear, so we keep a second day, because at one time they had to keep a second day to make sure they got the right date. Even though we know which day it is, we still keep that second day. But on Shavuos, well, the second day is actually more significant than the first day, because the second day is the actual anniversary of when God spoke the Aseret Dibros. But that problem only makes it worse, more difficult. Because what are we doing on the first day of Shavuos? What are we celebrating on the first day of Shavuos if actually it's on the second day? What are we doing on Wednesday? And remember, our practice is on Wednesday, the first day of Shavuos. We read this narrative of Matan Torah. We read the narrative of God revealing himself and speaking the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. If it didn't happen that day, why are we reading about it that day? And what about Israel? You mean to tell me Israel misses the whole thing? Israel observes one day on Wednesday, a week from Wednesday. Nothing happened on Wednesday. The whole shebang happened on Thursday, and it's a weekday? So the Magen Avram's opinion, answer is really very, very difficult to understand. There are a number of answers to this. I've shared a couple in the past, but I want to share with you today the approach of Rabbi Yehuda Amital. I think it's a very, very important answer, and I think it's an answer that has should have, hopefully, a lot of impact for us. Shavuos is not the holiday that celebrates the content of the Torah. Because remember, we say it's the time of Matan Torah. It was given. We didn't necessarily know yet what was in it. It took us time for Moshe to teach us the laws, to explain them. So Shavuos, we're not celebrating the content of the Torah. On Shavuos, we celebrate the contact, the connection between God and the Jewish people. God spoke. We all heard. It was a moment of connection and contact and closeness and intimacy greater than had ever existed before or will ever exist in the future. It is that contact, that connection, that intimacy that we celebrate on Shavuos. But remember what Rabbi Yossi said. Yom echad hosef Moshe midaito. Moshe added a day on his own and God agreed. So that moved the moment of contact from the 50th day of the Omer, the 6th of Sivan, to the 51st day of the Omer, the 7th of Sivan. So what happened on the 6th of Sivan, the 50th day of the Omer? On the 6th of Sivan, the 50th day of the Omer, a week from this Wednesday morning, God considered us worthy, spiritually fit for God's revelation. Now, Moshe pushed it off for whatever reason Moshe had, and God agreed to him, but God considered us worthy for that historic revelation. It's a monumental achievement that God looked at us, the Jewish people, and we were worthy of that overwhelming, impossible to describe revelation of God's presence. I want to tell you a story about a teacher in Israel named Avinoam Hirsch. So he had a practice that to motivate his students, he would give out certificates of excellence every once in a while. Maybe it was once a week, best student of the week or something like that. Certificates of excellence. And on that day, they would give the child a certificate and they would send an email to the family before, the day before, to say, your child won the Certificate of Excellence Student of the Week. You should be very proud of him. And tomorrow, he or she will get his certificate. So, one time it happened that this teacher, Avinoam Hirsch, sent the Student of the Week Certificate of Excellence, and he sent the email to the family. In this case, it was only a mother, a single mother. And the email says, bravo, mazel tov, yasher koyach. Your child is receiving the Certificate of Excellence, Student of the Week. Great, great job. Keep up the good work. But he made a mistake. He made a mistake. And he sent the email to the wrong email address. You know, sometimes you just click and you get the wrong one. And in fact, the mistake he made was enormous because, by mistake, he sent it to the mother of the worst student in the class. the student that always made jokes, that never paid attention, that was sent out to the principal's office every other day, the least motivated, least interested student in his whole class. And the teacher thinks to himself, Vey Izmir, what have I done? I have to somehow retrieve that email or explain somehow I made a mistake because it's the worst student. I mean, even the day that he sent the email, he had to send that kid out of the class to go to the principal's office. But before he could even try to retrieve the email that he had sent, of course, once you send it, sometimes there's a way within the first few minutes to retrieve an email maybe, but he already received an answer from this boy's mother. And the email that he received from the boy's mother said, oh my goodness, thank you. You do not understand what your message did for me. This is the happiest thing that has happened to me all week. And I realized that this child is going to go home tomorrow with no certificate of excellence, student of the week, because he certainly doesn't deserve it. And then his mother, what is she going to feel? And what's going to happen to him? He didn't know what to do. He thought about it, and then he came up with the following idea. So at the end of the class, at the end of the day, before this boy went home, he went over to the boy and he said to him, listen, you are the first student that I have ever loaned a certificate of excellence to. Meaning, I'm going to give you the certificate of excellence. It says you were the best student in the class this week. You and I both know that that is not true. But I'm going to give you a chance to earn it this coming week. So I am lending it to you on the condition that even though you have not fulfilled it the past week, but that you will try to fulfill it in the next week. When this boy heard that he was going to receive this certificate of excellence, even though it was on the condition of the loan, his eyes lit up and he said, just last night, my mother was crying because she had spoken to another one of my teachers, and she told him how awful I behave and how poorly I'm doing, and she was crying. And the boy says to this teacher, Avinoam Hirsch, he says, thank you so much for this. I will not let you down. And throughout the next week, this naughty boy who had always ruined classes and disrupted and was sent to the principal's office, he turned into an angel. The school social worker came to the teacher and asked this teacher, Avinoam Hirsch, did his mother start giving him Ritalin or something? And Avinoam said, no, he's on much stronger stuff, which burns inside of him. It's called trust. That's what we reached on the 6th day of Sivan. After centuries of slavery, amidst the immorality of Egypt, we worked on ourselves day by day, elevated ourselves as we traveled geographically from Egypt to Sinai. We traveled spiritually, ascending in holiness and morality, step by step, day by day, until we reached the level that God said to us, you are ready for this gift. You have earned my trust to receive my most precious gift, the Torah. And that's what we celebrate on the 6th day of Sivan. You and me, my friends, we have to ask ourselves, as we approach the 6th of Sivan, a week from Wednesday morning, if we have earned the right this year to celebrate Shavuos on the 6th of Sivan. As God looks at us this year, what does God see? Hopefully, we are using the days of the Sfiras HaOmer, counting the days of the Omer, to intensify our study of Torah, to raise ourselves in our care and consideration for others, especially our empathy, our prayers, our assistance in every way possible for our brothers and sisters in Israel, our heroic brothers and sisters, sons and daughters serving in the IDF, and of course, never absent from our minds are the hostages still being held in Gaza. And hopefully, we are elevating ourselves, understanding the nature of the freedom we received on Pesach to put it to good use. There are still a few days left to commit ourselves, to energize ourselves, to lift ourselves, to reach the level possible for the 6th of Sivan. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.